President Joe Biden nears his 100th day in office. More than half of Americans say they approve of the job he's doing.
What's up, everybody? JoBama here. What's next? Last night, Joe Dementia had his first address to a joint session of Congress. Now, you got to be saying to yourself, what could he be possibly talk about? What supposedly great things that Joe can pat himself on the shoulder about? Could it be false climate change? Could it be the non-existing job creation? Could it be the almost double-digit unemployment? Could it be the several million people around the country who are worried about taking the vaccine because of its side effects? Could it be the non-existent or low numbers when it comes to COVID, new COVID cases? Now, if he wanted to pat himself on the back with all those, he's more than welcome to. But I live in reality. I don't live in fantasy. That's what Washington, D.C. is all about. But we're going to take a look at a few lowlights, if you would, in regards to Joe Dementia's address to Congress last night. Let's take a look. This comes out of PJ Media. 5 things to know about Joe Biden's address to Congress. On Wednesday, President Joe Dementia gave his first address to Congress. He touted his COVID-19 relief bill. You mean the relief bill that constitutes only as 10% of actual COVID relief? You mean the bill that is more so about pork in relating to Democrat and Republicans in this bill? You mean that bill? You mean the bill that small and medium businesses that have been destroyed by the forced mandate lockdowns? That relief bill? Okay. And urged Congress to pass this infrastructure bill. The union gave away PRO Act, the Anti-Christian Equality Act, and his new American Families I really don't give a damn bill. Biden framed his agenda in terms of jobs and helping the middle class, but his bill represent a far left giveaway to Democratic his constituencies, and they'd cost far more than Biden's plan to raise new taxes, supposedly only for people who make $400,000 or more. Number 1, jobs, jobs, and jobs. Biden cunningly framed his agenda in terms of jobs rebuilding America. He even characterized his increase of regulations on cheap and effective forms of energy as a jobs program. Quote, "Far too long, we have failed to use the most important word when it comes to meeting the climate crisis. Jobs, jobs, and jobs." When I think of climate change, I think of jobs. Wow, that's bumper sticker. That is just bumper sticker written all over it right there. Yeah. He made a similar statement later on in a speech while Biden admitted that the U.S. only accounts for far less than 15% of the global carbon emissions, being that we as a nation over the last decade, including the Obama administration, our emissions are the lowest among any industrialized nation on Earth. Those are called facts. They're called facts. He made a similar statement later on a speech. He said he rejoined the Paris Accord to build a consensus that if we don't act to save the planet, we can create millions of jobs, economic growth, opportunity, and raise the standard of living for most of everyone in the world. The fact of the matter is, Joe Dementia is a clown, and the Paris Accords is a joke. It's all about money and power. That's all it is. It will do squat to help so-called curb the climate crisis, which we don't really have a climate crisis. We really don't. There are too many scientists, too many geologists, too many climatologists out there who have said, you know what? Trump was right to pump the brakes. He was right to pull us out of the Paris Accords because it does nothing. We are not the world's savior. We are not that. We need to protect, number one, that's us. Trump was right on that. And Biden, and once again, shows his ass clownery. Biden did not address the jobs that he destroyed on his first day in office by canceling the construction of a Keystone pipeline. Yeah, remember that? 11,000 plus jobs. More like 25,000 plus jobs that were destroyed. I know it's hard. It's very hard for me to bite my tongue with this because there's just so much. He did not address the millions of jobs that would disappear if he raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. He did not address the jobs that would be lost to the ban of drilling for oil on federal lands. He did, however, take credit for the jobs creation during his first 100 days. The economy created more than 1.3 million new jobs in 100 days, more new jobs in the first 100 days than any president on record. The president did not note that those jobs came back due to the abatement of the COVID-19 pandemic, an abatement due in large part to the historic vaccines that President Donald Trump helped to launch through Operation Warp Speed. Success in fighting COVID-19. I'm going to try to get through this. Biden did not mention his predecessor, but he did begin his speech by celebrating his own election, saying that America is rising anew, choosing hope over fear, truth over lies, light over darkness. Yet the president celebrated many of his achievements against COVID-19 that his president, Donald Trump, made possible. After I promised 100 million COVID vaccine shots in 100 days, we have provided over 220 million COVID shots in 100 days. We're marshaling every federal resource. We've gotten the vaccine in nearly 40,000 pharmacies and over 700 community centers, health centers. Biden is right to celebrate this historic vaccine effort, but it was all Trump. Surprisingly deceptive agenda. Okay. Biden urged Congress also to pass the Violence Against Women's Act, which includes anti-gun provision, which is pretty much anti-Second Amendment, and a pro-transgender provision. Yeah, the Union Giveaway Pro Act, the Equality Act, which is anti-Christian, anti-faith, anti-pro-life, pretty much, which is anti-people. That's what it is. You'd rather pretend that men are women, but when it comes to real men and women, the hell with them. Quote, how to pay for it. Taxes, taxes, and taxes. Quote, saving democracy. Throughout the speech, Biden framed the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot as an existential threat to America and the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. He insisted that America is at an inflection point between representative government and autocracy. Biden began the speech by saying he had inherited a nation in crisis, the worst pandemic in a century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack of our democracy since the Civil War. The president urged Congress to pass H.R. 1 bill that guts the election integrity efforts done by numerous states, including Georgia, which passed a bill that would correct the mistakes, or hope to correct the mistakes, of the 2020 debacle election, which, of course, the most popular president in history got elected. Wink, wink. Federalizes elections, attacks free speech and politics. He dismissed concerns about the integrity of the 2020 election. Of course he did, because, it was all legit. And he urged H.R. 1 as an effort to protect the sacred right to vote. In that context, he returned to the Capitol riot. All right, my thoughts. The fact of the matter is that Joe Dementia has literally done in 3 to going on 4 months now what Obama did in 8 years was pretty much set the country back at least a decade or more in regards to his executive orders, which do nothing, which have done nothing. I think it was, 60 executive orders within weeks of getting elected, have done nothing but destroy this country, undermine this country, have been a detriment to this country. But yet, you got those who are praising this clown. And sorry, Biden's a clown. He's a buffoon. You think he's running the country? He's not running the country. You know, it's Kamala, I slept my way up, Harris, and the other buffoons around him that he surrounded himself with. When you have a White House press secretary, Psaki, who doesn't know what day it is most days, and all she can do is circle back, that doesn't help everybody. That helps no one. What it does, it gives fuel to those of us who are conservative, who are libertarians, who are true liberals in regards to the freedom of speech, in regards to the republic of this country through democratic representation. This is where we're at. We're at a crossroads, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're at. When you have someone who is so inept and incompetent as Dementia is, when he is taking credit for something he didn't do. He did nothing. He absolutely did nothing. Donald Trump was the one who was able to cut through the red tape and push through 2 vaccines and worked on a third, which was the Johnson & Johnson. But yet, Biden's not going to give credit to him. Of course it's not. When you talk about a guy who in his first 3 years had the lowest unemployment rate among everyone, lowest among blacks, lowest among Hispanics, minorities, women, had tariffs against China, a tax credit relief within his first year, which you had all these companies, from Comcast to Verizon to AT&T, who were giving out $1,000 bonuses to their employees because of Donald Trump. What has Dementia done? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, except continuous ruination of this country. And his speech last night pretty much just touted it. You're worried about the climate crisis, which there is none. Like I said, there are too many scientists, geologists, and climatologists out there who will say, no, there's really not, because we still don't have all the data. We still really don't know. What percentage can we put on human beings that it's their fault, or should I say, with more clarity, the U.S.'s fault? We, here in this country, it's our fault. The reason why you got 100,000 plus people flooding over the southern border over the last few months, every month, because of, climate crisis, not because their countries suck. But then again, that's just me. And with that being said, we're at a sad state of affairs, my friends. Sad state of affairs. I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more videos just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, hit that subscription button, slam that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.